Season 15 has just arrived in Naraka Bladepoint, and with it comes our newest character rework for Kurumi. Kurumi has had her loadout of abilities readjusted to 2 skills and ultimates, and in this video, we'll be covering all the core information you need to get caught up with the Kurumi changes, as well as learn how to effectively use and how to effectively counter this dynamic healer. As soon as you find this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel as I upload new educational Naraka content every week, or at the very least, just hit the like button, right? First up, we have Kurumi's first skill, Healing Ray. While the skill is ready to use, allies that Kurumi aims at are marked, and activating the skill creates a tether between Kurumi and the marked ally target, which will continuously heal both of their healths, but not armor, as long as they stay linked together, and the tether can last up to 30 seconds. While tethered, Kurumi cannot attack, and simply activating the grappler will break the tether instantly, even if you don't fire one. She can, however, heal armor or health, slide, double jump, and climb walls without breaking the tether, and the tether will persist even when breaking line of sight. There is a distance threshold that, once reached, will give a warning about exceeding the skill range and force Kurumi to activate the tether before it is inevitably cut off. Kurumi can activate her tether in 2 different ways. The first option is the teleport, where Kurumi can teleport to her tethered target with a gold focus area ability that does minimal damage, but significant knockback to any affected enemies. This is useful for when your teammate is about to get hit by multiple enemies at once, since you can instantly push back everyone around your tethered teammate. The teleport can also be used while under attack. The second option for activating Kurumi's tether has many different names, but I like to call it the snap. Kurumi can use the snap to instantly break the tether, cleansing both heroes of any debuffs like fire or poison, and with the first version of the skill, the snap gives them both a large heal, which prioritizes health before armor, but heals for a total of around 300. So with this, Kurumi now has a way to heal armor with her F skill like she was never really able to before. Kurumi can also hold the skill button to place an umbrella at a target location and immediately tether to it. If you start holding the skill while in the air, you can glide while aiming the umbrella, but Kurumi isn't protected by any form of focus during the charge. If you click the skill button while not looking at anyone, it will place the umbrella at Kurumi's current location. This umbrella lasts for 60 seconds, and attacks on the umbrella decrease its active duration. The umbrella acts as a normal target for Kurumi though, letting her benefit from being tethered even when a teammate is not there. She can also use the teleport or the snap on the umbrella, allowing her to get the normal benefits from those on her own as well. One of the most important features of the tether is how it can passively revive teammates. This powerful mechanic is key in Kurumi's trio's support role, since she's able to get a revive on a teammate while healing herself and while holding the options of teleport and snap at all times. Reviving a teammate does not break the tether, but the tether will be broken if a teammate dies while the tether is active, and the ability will go on cooldown. Kurumi's first skill has the shortest cooldown of any ability in the game right now at 15 seconds, tied only with Viper's silence ability. I guess this is the devs' way of convincing players to use F1 over F2, but I guess we'll have to see how people feel about this in the next few weeks. I don't know, leave your thoughts about the 15-second Kurumi F cooldown in the comments, and let's move on to her second skill. Healing Ray Guard is Kurumi's F2, and it's the version of the skill most players were already used to using before. It functions mostly the same to the first skill, with 2 major differences. The first difference is the passive health healing amount, which is reduced by around 50% for the second skill, because it will now be providing a passive 20% damage reduction for both heroes while tethered. And the second difference is what happens when she uses the snap. So for F2, instead of the snap healing health or armor, it will now provide 4 seconds of 70% damage reduction. The main appeal of the second skill is that 70% damage reduction on snap, since the teleport is only a golden focus skill, and thus is not able to help a teammate with incoming ultimate damage like the F2 snap can. This gives F2 a little more versatility with active defense at the cost of the low cooldown armor healing capabilities of the new F1. F2 has a 25-second cooldown, which is in line with the rest of the abilities in the game. Okay, so Kurumi's F skills do a lot, so before we dive into the advanced stuff, let's quickly look at her ultimate changes. Her first ultimate, Purified Circle, summons a circle of healing lasting for 15 seconds, which heals armor and cleanses debuffs to everyone inside every 1.5 seconds. Transformed monks and Yueshans will have their health restored instead of armor, making this ultimate a combination of her old first and second ultimates. After the first cast, Kurumi can cast the ultimate a second time to move the circle to a different spot, but this is mainly for repositioning and does not extend its duration. That's not all though, as Kurumi actually has some team-up mechanics hidden inside her ultimate. In the description of Kurumi's healing circle, it says, "The array can be affected by other elemental forces, changing its effects. and we're going to show all of them right now. Water from Valda's F skills and ultimates makes Kurumi's circle instantly heal 350 health the first time each teammate enters the circle and continuously applies the soak debuff to enemies inside. Remember, only teammates can augment a Kurumi circle. Sand from Teamup's F affects Kurumi's circle with wind, which makes any enemy that steps inside suffer from drastically reduced stamina recovery, similar to the slowed debuff from Teamup's ultimate, and this effect persists for a few seconds after the enemy leaves the wind circle. Fire from Tarka's ultimate Running Trail or Fireball F makes Kurumi's circle apply a fire damage debuff to enemies that continuously refreshes on enemies inside. Unfortunately, Zai cannot ignite Kurumi's circle like Tarka can. Doesn't really seem fair, but whatever. Ice from Justina's ultimate makes Kurumi's circle pulse an AoE freeze within its radius, freezing any enemies inside every few seconds with a max number of 3 pulses. The freeze immunity is also just long enough so that any enemy who stays inside the circle won't be frozen by a second freeze in a row, but they will be staggered. The freeze pulse will freeze enemies through blue focus, but will not freeze transformers. The stagger will also not trigger Shile's ultimate block. And finally, poison from any friendly activated environmental source like mushrooms or jellyfish makes Kurumi's circle deal deadly poison damage to any enemies inside. This one is super rare since no characters can inherently provide a poison effect, and it will only come from specific situations. The red mushrooms do not have any effect on Kurumi's circle, and if an enemy dies to Kurumi circle damage, the kill counts as Kurumi's. Also, fire and poison soul jades have no effect on Kurumi's circle. Next, let's look at Kurumi's new second ultimate, Purified Circle Rapid. This ultimate instantly heals Kurumi's entire team for 750 health apiece, with the excess health converting into armor healing. The team then gains 30% damage reduction for 5 seconds, and Kurumi knocks back nearby enemies when the ultimate is activated. This ability can be used while Kurumi is under attack, and there's something pretty interesting worth mentioning about the cooldown of this ultimate. So I'd heard in the past that some ultimates charge faster than others, and I believed it for a long time about some heroes like Teamup's ultimate charges fast or Mug's ultimate charges slow, but then I went and timed ultimates and the results may surprise you. So I went into free training and timed how long it took for every ultimate of every character to fully charge without moving. With the plus 20% rage per second glyph, almost every ultimate in the game right now takes around 4 minutes and 35 seconds to fully charge. You can go into free training right now and test this for yourself. The one and only exception to this is Kurumi's new second ultimate, which takes around 3 minutes and 40 seconds to fully charge. This means if there are any differences in the charge time between other characters' ultimates, it would have to be differences in their base rage generated on hit or when taking damage, and I doubt this number would be variable between different characters, especially since there's never been any mention of this, but it is provably false that different ultimates have different base charge times, except for Kurumi's second ultimate. If we look at the patch notes, Kurumi's V2 has had its rage cost reduced to 60,000 rage, which is a 20% decrease in the required amount of rage to fill the ultimate, thus a 20% increase in how fast this ultimate will be ready again. Now that we've seen how the skills and ultimates are different than before, let's look at some more unorthodox ways to use Kurumi's abilities. Whenever Kurumi activates a snap or an ultimate, she's put into a very long gold focus animation that can be cancelled by simply moving. This gold focus animation lasts a shorter time on snap, but a long time on ultimate, and as long as you don't cancel it, it will give stagger immunity from any focus of a lesser state, so you can absorb blue focus attacks without stagger, and it has a pretty high priority against other ultimates as well. One hidden use for this is to extend your window for a parry. If you're heading to the realm of Yang with your team and there's something that makes it risky, try this. Tether to a teammate, wait until they go into realm, and then teleport yourself into realm with your teammate. The teleport can be used simply for movement, especially when using F1 with its 15-second cooldown. Simply place an umbrella and immediately teleport, or tether to a teammate and let them get as far as they can before you teleport at the last second. The umbrella also becomes a target for an enemy's melee aim assist. This can sometimes make an enemy throw an attack at the umbrella on accident. This is why throwing an umbrella into the middle of a fight is not necessarily a bad idea. One of Kurumi's favorite soul jades is Focus Slide. Because Kurumi can slide while tethered, this jade gives her offensive capabilities while using her F skill. Another good jade for Kurumi is Group Heal and or Advanced Heal, since she can use heals while tethered, so this just lets her double her healing output. If you're chasing a Kurumi around while she's tethered to her dead teammate and you can't seem to catch her with normal attacks, try to stagger her with a grapple. Kurumi can't defend herself against grapple stagger while tethered, so this is a good way to get a combo started on Kurumi and potentially force her to teleport and break the tether. Likewise, if you're fighting a team with a Kurumi and they use Kurumi ultimate, usually the best thing to do is to create some distance. Try to predict and force out Kurumi ultimate while your team doesn't have any ultimates active, so that you don't have to back away from the enemies during your team's ultimates. Common tactic for Kurumi in Realm of Yang is to place an umbrella on the floor in the middle before the fight starts. This is to set up for taking advantage of the melee aim assist we talked about earlier, but also to give Kurumi an anchor point to tether to. If she tethers to a teammate who grapples up to start the fight, they may break the tether, but this way she gets to have an umbrella in the fight and stay out of the mid-air conflict. It's important for Kurumi to use her ultimate before a bunch of damage comes in. That's why I ulted here as soon as I saw Shaol activate her ultimate after Hadi had already activated his. If all the enemies are in their ultimates, you know your team is about to receive some damage. As Kurumi, you should always be watching the fight, paying attention to both your teammates and the enemies, so you can be ready to defend your team from high burst damage abilities or soul jades. Also, if you haven't learned how to distract parries, this is a super useful skill that all characters can do. Lastly, this is the talent glyph setup I would recommend to anyone playing Kurumi in team modes. The red glyphs give us extra rage generation so we get our ultimate faster, especially when dealing damage, and the big red node gives us extra damage reduction for 10 seconds whenever we use our ultimate. The green glyphs give us some extra stamina and access to wave roll, which we can utilize while tethered for free dodges to better manage our stamina, and the big green node gives us 18% skill cooldown reduction, which can reduce the F1 cooldown to just over 12 seconds. I think that's about everything I want to put in this video. If you have a Kurumi tip that I didn't mention, or maybe you just want to add something, feel free to leave it in a comment. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and if you want to support me, you can use the join button below. Hope you enjoyed this video and had a great Christmas break, and I'll see you all in the next one.